My name is Neil Hughes. I'm joint managing partner of Davidson. We've been in this studio since 1994, and as a business we've been going about 30 years. Davidson is known as an architectural visualization studio. What we do, we visualize architecture and design before it's actually built. So we work very closely with architects, developers, consultants to bring designs to life, really, to really get the end user to understand how something might look and feel. So that's, in a nutshell, is probably what we do. So Alan formed Davidson in 1989, and as the company grew, then we needed to find new premises, and we found the premises here, and he helped design this studio to what it is today. Around 2012, Alan was diagnosed with motor neuron disease. So it was always his wish to, well, first of all, to think about what was next for the studio. And typically, for any founder, it's what do we do next? Do we sell the business? Do we close the business? Or do we hand it over to the employees? And that's what he wanted to do, was hand the business to the employees so they could continue all the wonderful things that he had sort of built up over time.
So when we first started to become employee owned, it was a very exciting time. It was a very sad time because obviously our founder, Alan, was preparing to leave us and leave the studio. So, it was a succession plan, but it was also a great opportunity to kind of rethink the way that we work and how we become more collaborative as a team, how we could become more kind of open, share ideas, also kind of share knowledge about how the company's doing and how everybody can actually impact on the success of the studio. So it was quite a big move, I guess, and it took a long time, and it's still evolving every day. But it was an exciting time and a sad time for the studio.
When it was really us taking forward the company and Alan stepping back, we did look at lots of different models. The model we decided upon in the end was the Employee Ownership Trust, which is known as an EOT. And the reason we chose that one was because of its simplicity. I think Alan had experienced the ins and outs of people coming and going when there were shares involved, and it was quite a complex transaction every time someone left. The EOT presented something where if you're in, you're in, and if you're out, you're out. And it was very simple in that respect. So there's no, we've got the indirect model as opposed to a direct model. So therefore, no one owns shares directly. They're all held by the trust. So therefore, it's simple. So if someone does leave, there's no complication. But people understand when they're here, they're invested, and they know what that means in terms of the culture that they'll experience, but also the reward as well.
When I first heard about us becoming employee-owned, it was obviously really exciting. And I think at the very beginning, I don't think everybody was really sure sort of what that meant. But I think as time sort of went, everybody sort of started to really understand what it is, which was obviously quite exciting and something quite new for the studio.
I've been working at Davidson for almost a year now. I knew I wanted to work somewhere with a really strong culture, somewhere I felt valued, opportunities for development, something a bit more unique where I feel like I could add a lot to and I would get a lot from. Being employee-owned is part of kind of everything we do, from internal to external. It's not just affirmations, words we put on our website. It's all about transparency, about leadership, acting as mentors, and kind of giving people confidence to come forward. We're always learning, we're always growing, and that's kind of my role to help further our growth.
I think what it did, it gave a real opportunity for people to understand that they all had a voice. They will all be listened. Not to say they weren't with Alan, but obviously when an individual is running a company, a lot of it comes from them. Whereas now, the ideas, the inspiration, it comes from a number of different people, because we open up the sort of channels to listen to people in a wider sense, not just at the top, but around the whole team. On our journey into employee ownership, we, not straight away, but we did form our guiding principles because it was really important for us to explain to the team what that meant to them and what their rights were as an employee owner. Because not many people understand employee ownership, which is understandable. So it's important for us to let them know what that's about. We have 5 guiding principles, which we will always explain to the team, when they start, and constantly remind as well. We have them on our studio intranet, so they can always refer back to them. The first one, which I think is really important, is the knowledge of the strategy. Knowledge of the strategy means that we can let the team know where we're going. And that's really important because when they know where we're going, the direction of travel, they can then think, how can I help? How can I help and support that? The ability to influence is a really key part. So we very often use surveys to get opinion on certain matters. Something where this was really helpful was when we were working out our remote working setup and really understanding how everyone felt about it and what would work and what wouldn't work. There's the right to develop. Every person within Hayes Davidson, there's no ceiling. Everyone can move up, and actually we expect an upward trajectory for everybody who joins Hayes Davidson. There's the right to information. So it's difficult for someone to try and push the business forward if there's certain information they don't know about. So what we do, we don't give people everything. What we do, we give people the information they need to perform their role at their best. And finally, visibility over decisions, where we are very open about key decisions that we're making within the studio. So we can get feedback from them as to whether they're okay with that or there are any concerns.
I volunteered to be Hayes Davidson or HD champion a few months into my role. I thought it was a great way to get to interact with different areas of the studio because we have quarterly catch-ups and I get to talk to everyone and sort of gauge the team morale and sort of ideas and concerns that might be floating within the studio. It's a great way to get a collective idea on what people are feeling and thinking and feeding it back to leadership and the trustees to get further action.
An example of bringing our employee ownership to life is our HD 5K. It's a 5K race run every year in memory of Alan Davidson. We've raised money for motor neuron disease, but the most important thing about the whole event is the whole studio takes part. And that is our sort of yearly celebration of Alan and the legacy that he's given to us.
This year, it was my first year with Hayes Davidson, and I was one of the people to help organize our HD 5K, which is a huge event for us. And it was really exciting being given that opportunity for the trust being put in me by my team members as a newcomer to help develop this huge event for us. Really gave me the confidence to go forward, to take charge, to be a leader in the studio.
I think joining any EO company is a positive move. You'll really see the difference once you're there, just how much your voice can be heard and how much you can impact the day-to-day. Obviously there's the great benefit of profit sharing, the financial state, but also a real sense of pride and accountability because you have such a say in how the business is run.
From my perspective, being the creative director, I'm very much all about the artwork and the innovation in the studio. So we're very open and encourage people to be very candid in their opinions on the quality of artwork. And this is everybody in the team as well, so egos and hierarchy don't get in the way of that. And we feel that this helps us create the sort of strongest artwork for our clients.
Being employee owned for me has been one of the most fulfilling journeys that I've really encountered in my whole sort of career, because I just see on a day-to-day basis that people are invested, they want the best. They listen more, but they know that they will be listened to. They want to contribute because they think it will matter. That then transfers to doing the best that you want for your client, and that will do the best for them as well. What you develop as a team, you start to then use it in your day-to-day working with clients and getting the best for them as well.